So hi, my name is Godfrey Mo, my name is Flowcash, my name is Hashtag, my name is Ganama Tswana, my name is whatever, man. Welcome to my HTML tutorials Kasa Tswana. Alright, now in the previous lesson, Nerebuaka margin, padding, float, height, and width. And I promise you guys that if you know these 5 CSS tricks, you can be one of the greatest programmers out there on the web. Alright, so today I want us to start a real life project which is how it would be in real life if you were to be a programmer. You'd probably get a design like this. It would have been drafted in Photoshop by somebody who doesn't know anything about HTML, and then your task would be to take this and turn it into a real life HTML page. Alright, so I want us to demonstrate how that would happen. And then I'm going to stress some other important point. If you want to be a great programmer, it's always best for you to start off with a basic design of the actual output of your website. That will help you, and it will let you work quicker and faster. So I have this as the basic design. We're going to work together along with it. I'm not going to slice it from Photoshop. I'm just gonna use it as an image here because that's what I want us to do today. You're gonna be using the 5 basic elements: margin, padding, float, height, and width only to achieve this. Alright, so now let's get started. First, you're gonna have to divide these into divs, and then divs are like containers. So you can have containers, a container for this top part, which you can have which you can probably call a header or the navigation, and then have a container for this bottom part, which you can call the footer normally, and then have a container for this, which will be the main content. And then if you look here, you can see that that's an aside. Alright, so first you have to identify your major elements like I just did. You identify them, and then you make divs or containers for those elements. Alright, so let's get started. First, I'm gonna make a div for this part, where for the grayish part, which contains company logo and the navigation items. Alright, so this is how I would first get started. I would first make a div and then call it wrapper, give it a class wrapper, and then that would be the one in red, which will contain everything. You get that? Alright, and then I would have another div inside that div which will contain this. I would have another div, give it a class, maybe call it main. Now main is inside wrapper. You see that the red is outside, it's like the mother body for everything here, right? And then now main would be inside, would be from here to here, down here, and up there. Alright, so inside main, what do I have? I have this, which I say I would maybe call it top. Right, so I would have another div, class, call it, give it a, or let me, because there's an element for that, let me just call it header, like that. So I would have my header there, and then inside my header I would have something to contain my company logo. Alright, so inside this header I would probably have another div to contain my logo. Alright, and then next to my logo, still within header, I would think I would have something to contain this navigation, and since there's something for that in HTML, I'll just call it nav. Alright, and then there we go. I'm done with the top part, the head, and then the overall container, which is wrapper. So now still inside main but outside head, or as a sibling to header, I would have this white space. You see this white space and there's little white space here. I would probably group these into one thing and then call them the main content. That seems like it would make a lot of sense and it would be helpful. So I'm gonna have div and then call it content. And then inside that div I would make 2 more containers, which one would be this, and then the other would be the smaller one. Alright, so I might have a div dot, let me call this big one main content, main content, and then not inside main content but next to main content, but inside the content area. I would have another div which I would probably call aside. There's an aside element for that, so I'd make this and call it an aside. Alright, cool. So there we are starting to get our HTML in a bit of shape. And then last but not least, I'll do the footer. I think I'd have just one thing here to contain the footer. The footer is inside main. It's not inside main. I would have my footer outside main but inside wrapper. So I would put my footer here. I could use a div, but there's an element for that, so I'll just use the element as it is. Alright, if I refresh this and reload on the browser, you're gonna see nothing, absolutely nothing, because remember in the first lesson we talked about HTML being the markup language. It'll tell you what should be there, but it will not tell you how it should be displayed in terms of size, width, height, and even color. Alright, so I'm gonna go back to my layout 2 and then open this in the browser so that you see that it's just white, there's nothing here, but I have made these partitions for which are literally containers for everything that I'm going to do. So that is how you start up a new project. You first identify what you are going to need. You see, this is what I would need to take on a project of this magnitude, and then on the next video we'll continue to the CSS necessary to have this layout come to life. See you in the next video.